What's going on, guys? This is Project Prospect coming at you with another Project Podcast, episode 2. If you guys have any questions you want us to answer on our next podcast, make sure to leave it down below, and we hope you guys enjoy. So we're going to start off with the Karl Anthony Towns rumors and how he wants to maybe leave the Timberwolves. ESPN's Zach Lowe reported that there's some tension going on in the front office with Towns. And then ESPN's Brian Windhorst said that it's more likely that Towns actually gets traded than long-rumored Anthony Davis. So, Cam, do you think they should trade Karl Towns? Like, what should they trade him for? Or should they just hold on to him?
Yeah, so with this, situation here, I'm not sure what their best move would be. I'm not sure if Towns is, 100% trying to leave or if he's just trying to force the Wolves to, I don't know, appease him by... I don't really know what he is looking for. I don't know what the problem is.
Well, I mean, I don't know. These young, I feel like when you're Karl Towns and you've seen that there's probably a cap. I mean, no offense to Timberwolves fans, but there's probably a cap on what you can accomplish in Minnesota. Even with the roster they assembled last season, they didn't. I mean, they were only the 8th seed, and even though it was their first year playing together, you had tons of hypothetically great players, at least 4 of them. Everyone was really hyped on the Timberwolves going into this season. This is supposed to be Towns' breakout year, et cetera, et cetera. But, they still only made the 8th seed, and then they lost to, I think, Houston. So, I mean, maybe he's just seeing that he can only accomplish so much here, and he's looking to just move on. Maybe he's got the Dennis Schroeder complex.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because he's not, an older player, so it's... And his team's not terrible, so I don't know if he's requesting they get just better players. And I feel like every player would ask for that, but I'm not sure. But if they had to trade him, I guess the Suns would be the most likely since they have the number 1 pick, and you'd be able to get his replacement, DeAndre Ayton. But I'm not sure people would want to trade Karl Anthony Towns for an unproven rookie.
Well, he might just not want to live in Minnesota, too. I mean, there's just that reality that I don't think that's the destination everyone dreams of, the state everyone, dreams of playing in. You know, we're seeing with a lot of guys, they get drafted to places like Cleveland, or, we even heard, even though New Orleans is safer, a great place to live, or it seems like a fun place to live, Anthony Davis has been rumored not to want to stay there. I mean, the reality is there's just certain teams in this league that are destinations, and Minnesota is not one of those places. And when when the best team you've ever seen, if you're Karl Towns, can't get better than an 8th seed, especially maybe he just wants to get out of the West too, considering how stacked it is. But that might be an issue for him. I mean, he is young, but I don't know. It might just there could be personal reasons. I mean, it's really interesting. This is an interesting thing to follow.
Do you think this is a negative trend for the NBA with all the young players asking to be moved, asking to be moved off teams that aren't contenders, I guess, even though the Timberwolves are still pretty good?
Yeah, I'm in the minority because I really like super teams. I think they're really fun to watch. I think LeBron's Heat's teams were some of the most entertaining basketball I ever watched. When Kevin Durant joined the Warriors for his first season, that team was insane. I loved watching that team. I don't see why everyone hates players wanting to group together. Basketball is entertainment, and that's how I treat it, besides, obviously, doing this now. But, I mean, it's still fun to, watch other teams, but when you can get so many great players, especially young players that have the energy and all that on the same team, I feel like that's more fun. So, it sucks for the fans, don't get me wrong, and maybe it's worse for, what's the word, for the parity, I guess, in the NBA, but as a fan who watches it for entertainment, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I also like super teams, so I wouldn't mind if I would like if he got traded to the Suns, because I feel like that'd be a very interesting team to watch, especially if they end up signing. Well, no, they wouldn't sign Clint Capella anymore, but if they can still get another high quality free agent, that'd make them a very interesting team.
Did he play with Devin Booker at Kentucky, or were they different years?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yes.
It's hard to tell because they have so many of the young stars in this.
Yeah, so there might be some pre-existing chemistry there as well.
Yeah.
Of course, that'd be crazy. And if he, I mean, you hate to pass up on a player like Ayton, but if you can actually put together a deal for Karl Towns, I mean, you have to take it. I don't know if Towns. Well, actually, I don't know though, because if you're Phoenix, are you confident that you can keep Towns there? Because if you didn't want to stay on the Timberwolves, that might theoretically have a better roster on paper.
Yeah, true.
Then,
well, addressing your like Devin Booker chemistry thing, when he like retweeted the story and used like the big eyeball.
Oh, that's
emojis,
right.
like looking sideways.
Right,
So
right.
That is pretty interesting.
Yeah. So that'd be.
That might be. Maybe they are making some moves behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So there's been a report. Do you know who the report's by?
The report was. I mean, I know the GM, I think, just like said it to somebody. I'm not sure exactly who.
Yeah, that they're willing to trade they're shopping around for the number one pick. I think that's a given. I feel like any team with number one pick would be shopping around just to see what they could get. And if Karl Towns is involved in that, then that'll be a very big. The Suns seem to be making a lot of big moves so far. Well, obviously they have the number one pick, and then the Clint Capella rumors, and now this. It seems like they're really looking forward to making next year their, like, what would you say?
Well,
Their outcoming?
Well,
or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, they probably want to show their young stars that they're not going to be complacent and just keep losing. Because obviously, like, guys like Devin Booker, he could be the next young star who's trying to get out of their losing team. But just quickly, so it was the Suns GM that told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski at the Combine that he would
Always
consider
Adrian,
trading it.
man.
Lord Woj has blessed us with more info.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it might just, I mean, maybe it's just a coincidence, but the whole him, like, announcing to the world that he might actually trade the pick and the Karl Towns rumors and the Devin Booker tweet. I mean, we always overanalyze social media, so we probably shouldn't read too much into the tweet, but that is, I mean, I don't.
It's an exciting time to be a Suns fan right now.
Yeah, until you realize none of this is happening. You're gonna draft Doncic, and you're gonna win like 40 games
And
next
miss
year.
on Clint Capella.
Sorry. Yeah, but you know, it's good to dream.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, I guess that's really all there is to that. All right. So next, we have the recent NBA Combine results or measurements, and obviously the biggest, biggest result from the draft Combine was Mohamed Bamba having an inch longer wingspan. So even more than his ridiculous 7'9" wingspan, it's now 7'10". So yeah, just as a prospect, I mean, I'm sure it doesn't change a lot because it's only an inch, but he already had ridiculous potential. It seems like it's only going up from there.
Okay, every inch counts.
Yeah. And on the opposite side of that, we have two. Trae Young measured at 6'1" and 3/4 in shoes and only a 6'3" wingspan. So that helps explain why we don't consider him that highly in our mock draft, which we'll talk about later. And another little funny measurement is Jalen Hands. You want to talk about his measurement?
So guys, guess what? Everyone knows Jalen Hands. Terrific UCLA point guard, lots of potential. We'll probably go back to school and become a lottery pick next year. Yeah, hyped up on Ball's life. You know, he's pretty well known.
Yeah, he dunked on someone in the scrimmage today.
Oh, with his hands, really? All right. So Jalen Hands is also the most ironic player in basketball. Yeah. This man, his name is Jalen Hands, but he has the smallest hands at the NBA Combine.
Yeah.
Jalen Trump Hands.
Jalen Trump Hands. All right, leave that man alone. Leave him alone.
All right, I'll spare him.
Moving on, we have a somewhat, I'm not sure if this is very shocking, but we have Zaire Smith measuring only at 6'4". We already knew he was like an undersized. A lot of people consider him a small forward. Some people consider him a shooting guard, but measuring in at 6'4" as a small forward / shooting guard,
it's not good.
that hurts his draft stock. I mean, he's still very good. I would still take him. Like, he would still be a steal personally, I think. But surprisingly, Lonnie Walker measured in taller than him. I didn't think Lonnie Walker was as tall as Zaire Smith, or taller than him, because he measured at 6'4.5". But they both have like similar wingspan, so they're pretty similar. But when Zaire Smith just plays more like a small forward, and Lonnie Walker plays more like a guard.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are just some interesting measurements from the combine.
Yeah.
And Fernie Simon's only measuring at 6'3.25". Well, that's around wherever.
Yeah, that's about it. But yeah, I mean, that's about where we thought he'd measure. But I do think the Mohamed Bamba measurements were interesting. I think he measured in at 7 foot. Was it 7'1" or was it 7 foot?
Let me check real quick for you.
Either way, though,
his height. Yeah, he measured in at 7 foot 3/4. So basically 7'1".
So yeah, so he's not even 7 feet. He's 7'1". His wingspan is a ridiculous 6'10".
7'10".
Oh, yeah, right. My bad. 7'10". I mean, 6'10" would have been ridiculous enough. So 7'10" wingspan. He's a great athlete. I know we made a video on this kid, and you can find that pretty easily by clicking on our channel. But I mean, the potential, the floor on this man. I think we compared him to Rudy Gobert in our video, but I'm starting to think. This might be exaggeration, but I'm starting to think that might honestly be his floor. He was already a good defender in college and a terrific shot blocker, but like, how? I mean,
the potential is crazy.
We haven't seen a player with measurements like this. Like, he's ridiculous, and he's probably going to go like 5th in the draft.
Yeah, and not to like overhype this, but I'm guessing some of you have seen his workout video with him shooting. I think it was like NBA threes and then like a long mid-range too, and the form looked much better than it did before. It didn't even look broken before, but now it just looks
crispy,
crispy
jumper.
Yeah. So another player who we think really raised his draft stock is Jalen Brunson. He measured in with a 37-inch vertical, which totally surprised me. I didn't even think it was true. Like, he doesn't really show that athleticism very much in games, so
yeah,
maybe this is something he's been working on, or he just doesn't need it, I guess, for the type of game he plays.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson was one of my personal favorite point guard prospects in this draft. I'm not really very high on a lot of the point guards in this draft, but Jalen Brunson is probably in my personal like 2 to 3 range. And finding out that he graded out decently well athletically at the combine just confirmed. I don't know if I want to say it confirmed, because I believe in his game in general, not really his athleticism. But if he is a good athlete on top of the skills I think he has, he's a player you might want to look at. I'm not going to say late lottery, but maybe in the 15 to 20 to 25 at latest range, because I really think he has the skills to be an NBA starting point guard.
Yeah. And there's another player that we talked about his athleticism, and some of you were commenting that he has more potential to like increase that. Jonte Porter. He measured with a 31-inch vertical, which he's gonna need to work on that. And I think his percent body fat is 14%, which is highest at the combine. So he might be able to improve his athleticism if he loses all that, because most of the players on here are like from 6 to like 9%. So if he can get that down, it'll be interesting to see how much quicker and like how much more athletic he becomes in general.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know.
I guess that's
nothing. Let's continue.
Are you gonna roast him?
I mean, I was just gonna say I don't buy the hype on him becoming more athletic just because he loses some weight. I mean, sure, he can be a little bit quicker, but I mean, he's not going to drastically change as an athlete by shedding some pounds. I don't know. I think people are betting on that a little bit too hard, just because they like because he's a terrific like shooter and playmaker for his position, and I still would draft him in the first round. But I think people have to understand, like, you're not just going to make him a better athlete by telling him to lose some weight.
Yeah, true. I mean, it'll definitely help. So that's Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a fitness expert, but I've never seen a player like go from a really bad athlete, which is basically what he is, to like becoming a solid athlete. If that's what people are saying he can be, I don't think I've ever seen that.
You must have not seen LiAngelo Ball's transformation last year.
All right. So
moving on. Speaking of LiAngelo Ball, this is future team. The Lakers said none of their young core, or basically nobody on their team, is untouchable. And that's very interesting considering how well most of them played, except for, Lonzo didn't play as well, but I wouldn't expect them to say that like outright. It sounds like they're actually trying to shock them. I don't know why they would say that otherwise.
I don't know why they would challenge Lord LeVar like that. I mean, you just said that his son is tradable, and he might have to hurt them for that. Yeah. The Lakers, I appreciate their honesty, because I don't think there's any player on this team that is untouchable. As good as Kuzma was, there's a ceiling on what he can be. Oh God, wait. Should I have taken that? No. Lakers fans, stop. I can already hear the comments. Like Lonzo... look, he's not, I gotta continue that. He's not Jason Tatum. He's not Donovan Mitchell. He's a good player. Okay, he's a good player, but we saw his game level off as the year went on. He's got a ceiling. Guys, like,
yes, he does.
Like I loved watching him play at the beginning of the season. It was terrific seeing what the Lakers got with that late round steal. But please relax on Kyle Kuzma. He's good. He's not Jason Tatum. All right. So Lonzo Ball, which is, I think, the most interesting part of the comment, because even though I think it's obvious that everyone should be available, I almost wonder if they would actually consider trading Lonzo if the right deal came up, or if Magic Johnson really believes in him. It's interesting.
I feel like they wouldn't. I mean, they would, because like there's always an offer that you'll accept.
Right.
But who would you think is more like tradable, him or Brandon Ingram? I feel like people keep forgetting Brandon Ingram's actually on that team too.
I mean, people forget because he's just kind of like there, but he's not like a rookie.
He's just good.
Yeah, he's not a rookie, so like no one really cares that much, and he's not Lonzo Ball, so like that's a lot of the attention. That's like 80% of the attention going to Kuzma and Lonzo. And then you got like 10% for Julius Randle and 10% for Brandon Ingram. I think they'd be more likely to trade Ingram just because they're going after a lot of small forwards probably in free agency coming up.
Yeah, true.
And Lonzo isn't very good, so I don't think people really want to trade for him. I mean, they would, but I mean, it's not like the Lakers are going to take a low ball offer for the last year's number 2 pick, so they'd obviously choose to hold on to him unless they get like a crazy deal.
Yeah, true. I didn't think about that. And I think Lonzo just way more unique, so I feel like that'd be harder to trade. I mean, actually, I don't know, because LeVar Ball's also there pissing off everyone. So maybe Lonzo would be more likely to be traded just because...
Well, does anyone want to take on that distraction, though? Is Lonzo worth it?
Oh, yeah, true. Forget.
At this point in his career?
It has to go both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To, like, take our problem.
I think Lonzo's sort of untradeable right now until, like, LeVar calms down.
I mean,
so
I think he's tradable, but you're not getting anything worth a second overall pick right now. Like, I mean, I'm sure there are teams that want Lonzo Ball on their team and would...
I feel like LeVar Ball wouldn't be worth having Lonzo on your team.
I mean, but if you had to give up like a second round pick, you're taking him.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a team that needs a point guard, if you're the Magic, you're taking Lonzo Ball. I mean, it's not like it's... I mean, if
you'll find other ways to get rid of the dad. Okay. No one heard that. Alright, so I guess you think that's enough for the Lakers?
Yeah, I mean, unless you have anything else to add, I think that's probably covers it.
Surprised Julius Randle hasn't been traded yet, considering how well he played. But that's pretty much
Julius
it.
Randle is also lacking upside, but continue.
Alright, so next, we're going to sort of address some of the questions you guys were asking about Trae Young and his placement in the mock draft.
Ooh, this one's
if you
fun.
don't know, Huh?
Oh, this one's a fun one. Can't wait for this one.
If you guys didn't watch it, you should. But we had him going number 14 to the Denver Nuggets. So we're pretty much just going to go through all of the teams and explain why we didn't have them taking Trae Young. All right, so obviously the first pick, that's not even a question. If you think
okay, hold on. For some people, though, it really is.
Okay.
And okay, so in the most kind, least rude way possible, like you guys gotta like. I said this about Kyle Kuzma, and I don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself, but you gotta like calm down. Like he's, even if you love him as a prospect, he shouldn't be anywhere near the top 5. Okay, there are top 5 players. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just going to use the top. Okay, yes.
Top 8. I'm sorry.
I'm going to use the top 5 as like an example because like that's where a lot of people seem to think he is like talent-wise. There are 5 players in this draft that are supremely more talented and have more upside and have a less bust potential, like really all around.
They have a higher floor and higher ceiling.
Yeah, just better overall prospects than Trae Young. And that's not to say, and like I don't know if it's too early to just start talking about Trae Young, but like he's not a bad prospect. But like if you don't see the obvious flaws in him, like very bad flaws, then I mean he just can't be a top 5 pick. But let's just continue going down the list with number 2.
Yeah. He can't. Yeah, he can't be top 5 at all. But yeah, continue.
So the Kings taking Luka Doncic in our mock draft. He's not a better prospect than Doncic, and even if
we said Ayton, but
that's right, Doncic. Damn it.
Yeah, but I just want to say this as well. We all know that DeAndre Ayton should be the number 1 pick. We had him at number 2 just because the situation for the Suns, but we think Ayton is definitely the best player in the draft. So just want to say that. Yeah, the Suns hiring
Doncic is oversees his coach
oversee
whatever. Hiring that coach specifically was way too convenient for them not to take Doncic, and they might not, but maybe they were expecting to get screwed in the draft, or I have no idea. But DeAndre Ayton is the best player in this draft. And Trae Young is not going over the best player in the draft. Sorry.
All right, so Trae Young's not going over Luka Doncic, whatever. We know that. Mohamed Bamba, way too much potential. And I'm pretty sure his floor is higher than Trae Young's potential, probably, too.
I mean, Trae Young's potential might be Steph Curry, if you really want to go there.
Because Steph Curry's got an inch on him. Is it? Yeah.
He has a lot of things on him.
Steph has an inch on him. He has a mid-range pull-up jump shot that Trae Young, he just hasn't shown it. If he has it, I mean, I don't know.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And Steph's a lot more athletic than him, too.
Yeah, he's a lot quicker.
Which is surprising because Steph, athletic, doesn't really. But Trae Young is, you continue. I'm going to see what Trae Young's vertical was, if he even jumped.
Yeah. So yeah, Mohamed Bamba, he's one of our favorite. Like both of us, we love Mohamed Bamba as a prospect. I mean, again, like we talked about this earlier as well. 7'1" now with a 7'10" wingspan, crazy defensive potential, and a developing jump shot that with the form he's changing and all that. He's just a great prospect. And Trae Young, I mean, you can't take Trae Young at number 3.
No.
But
they don't even need Trae.
I was literally just going to say, yeah.
So far, right now.
I mean, unless they trade Dennis Schroeder, which we talked about in our first podcast. So, go take a listen if that intrigues you. But for right now, Dennis Schroeder is on the roster. And if that's the case, they don't need a point guard to begin with. Yeah. And Mohamed Bamba is just a better prospect, like universally.
That's the case for like the next 2 teams. The Grizzlies still have Conley, and it doesn't seem like they're parting ways with him anytime soon. And Jaren Jackson's just an overall better prospect. The Mavericks have Dennis Smith, and Marvin Bagley is also just an overall better prospect. Now, number 6, this is where I hear most people talking about taking Trae Young, just because the Magic need a playmaker. But your options are Michael Porter Jr., Wendell Carter, and I think Michael Porter is the best option out of that one. And if you saw our other podcast, Brendan was talking about how you have to take like Michael Porter Jr. Like we were comparing him to Doncic, not even Trae Young. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's just like, how are you going to pass on Michael Porter for Trae Young, who might end up being one of the biggest busts in the draft?
I mean, think of it this way. Michael Porter can be Kevin Durant. Trae Young probably can't even be Stephen Curry. And that's not even a diss on Trae Young. But Stephen Curry is a ridiculous player. And to be Steph Curry, you'd have to be one of the best shooters of all time. And I know I'm saying that Michael Porter can be one of the best scorers of all time, but I really believe that.
He has the size and everything.
Yeah.
Trae Young doesn't have the size or athleticism to even be Steph Curry, which is a problem.
Exactly, yeah. Even Steph Curry is 6'3" and pretty quick.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So, I mean, and plus, like, I have Michael Porter in my top 2. So, I mean, to me, Michael Porter is... You can't pass up on him at number 6 if you're the Magic. And they really need a small forward as well. So, even if you want to say positional need, well, I'll just tell you their starting small forward is Jonathan Simmons. So...
Ouch. He played all right, but...
Oh, yeah, he's fine. He's not Michael Porter, though.
Yeah. And we have a question for you guys. If you could find a video of Trae Young dunking, we tried before, we couldn't find one. So I just want to see if he can even dunk. I hope he can. I would assume he can.
Send them on that run. You know they can't. You know that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I mean, not that it matters, but
he didn't measure for his vertical.
Oh, of course he didn't.
He's a smart man.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure Steph has a much longer wingspan than 6'3" as well.
Yeah.
So that as well. So next pick we have the Bulls. They have Chris Dunn right now. I mean, he's replaceable. He's not like a great prospect, but that's not really a position of need for them.
They'll definitely give him another year.
Yeah. It's definitely not that important, especially when they have the small forward and center position that they need to fill. And for us, we believe Wendell Carter is probably one of the safest picks in this draft, just because he has like no flaws.
Yeah.
Besides not having elite athleticism, his athleticism is still very good for being 260 pounds.
He's more athletic than Trae Young.
That's a fact.
He probably runs faster than
Yeah, okay.
No, but Wendell Carter is one of our, like you said, he's one of our favorite players in the draft. Like, we absolutely loved watching his tape. Like, the lack of flaws was astonishing, and the strengths are abundant. So,
Yeah, very.
Yeah, I would. There's just no way, if I'm the Bulls, I'm benching Chris Dunn for Trae Young when I could have Wendell Carter at center going forward.
Yep. And with the 8th pick, our main reason for taking Mikal Bridges was basically saying, LeBron, we're still with you, and we'll keep building this team around you.
Right.
And taking Trae Young does not really help that. Trae Young needs the ball in his hand. And that's another difference between him and Steph. Trae Young does not do anything off the ball. Steph can score off the ball easily. He could probably play the 2 guard fine. He couldn't defend the 2, but yeah. But LeBron and Trae Young, like, that might be fun to watch, but I don't think that helps anyone, because LeBron just sends everyone on his team to the corner so he can go to work. So taking him for the Cavs doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, unless you believe Trae Young has Kyrie Irving level isolation skills and can give LeBron breaks off the ball like Kyrie did. I mean, if you really think he's that good at beating players off the dribble, etc., then you could make a case for this. But when you have a player like Mikal Bridges, who's the best 3-and-D player by a landslide in this draft, it would be an elite asset for a player like LeBron James, like in his first season and going forward.
The Cavs are already terrible at defense. They don't need a 6'1" and 3/4 point guard with no length or athleticism.
That's true, yeah.
So that's not even an option for them. For the Knicks, I could see this being somewhere that Trae Young could go. It's probably a likely place. I'm a Knicks fan. I wouldn't be too mad with this, considering I don't like Miles Bridges or Kevin Knox. But I could see him going to the Knicks, but personally, we already have Ntilikina. And I feel like there'd be no point in taking Trae Young when we already have a young point guard who barely even got to play this year. So I'd rather us wait and develop him than, I guess, throw him out already.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we don't have Trae Young there.
And I know...
yeah.
Well, I just want to say quickly, I know, like, this might get roasted low-key, but Trey Burke had a terrific into the next season. And
yeah, don't worry, we'll pay him like $20 million next year.
And y'all might laugh, but I mean, with Neil Aquino being your first round pick last year and Trey Burke,
the better Trae,
honestly, might already be a solid point guard. He at least showed some of the potential he flashed coming out of Michigan in 2013 or 2012 or whenever he was drafted. Wait, was that? Actually, it wasn't that long ago. Yeah. It was like
one of those. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, yeah. Well, either way, he played really well at the end of the season for the Knicks, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was a starting caliber point guard going forward. I mean, he had talent coming out that year.
Yeah.
But anyways, you definitely could take Trae Young here, but Lonnie Walker, right, was what we had.
Yeah, Lonnie Walker.
I mean, we just love him as a prospect too. So
yeah. Yes, that makes sense. And then the next two picks, Sixers, Hornets, already have point guards that are much better than Trae Young will be his rookie year. So we don't have to worry about that. And then the Clippers, he could definitely end up getting picked here. But the main reason we have him going 14 is because we have Colin Sexton rated above him. And we just feel like Colin's just a much better prospect than Trae Young is. Like, Trae Young, if he can't get his jump shot to Steph Curry level, then it's I don't really see him having that big of a role on a good team, and Colin doesn't have that problem. So that's pretty much why we have him going number 14.
Sexton is I guess we should probably explain why we think he's a better player than
check out the prospect breakdown, but continue.
Yeah, I mean, you should check out all our prospect breakdowns, because you might think we're this is another thing we should probably mention. We're being super general right now when we talk about each player and why we like them for each team and whatnot, but we go a lot more in depth in the prospect breakdowns. We're just trying to give you a general explanation for why each player went where in this review. But if you think we don't know anything, he's just saying Trae Young is Steph Curry and
they don't sound like that. They're smart.
Yeah, our fans are smart, but the ones who don't subscribe, I don't know about them. But yeah, so I just want to quickly say, Colin Sexton, his athleticism, his intensity, his defensive ability, he's a much
rim attacking.
Yeah, he's a much safer. I would say his floor is much higher and his ceiling is still definitely decently high. So if you're taking a point guard, if you need a point guard, I'll take the kid who's probably going to be a lockdown defender, and if he improves his jumper even a little bit, it'll be good enough. And yeah, I mean, we just we go much more in depth in our prospect breakdown, but we just think he's a better point guard prospect, which is why he's going ahead of Trae Young.
Yeah, so we hope that clears up some of that for you. If you guys still want to ask questions about it, go ahead. We'll try our best to make you understand why we don't value him that highly. Or you could just check out his prospect breakdown. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any suggestions for a name, we're not 100% set on Project Podcast. I don't think it's a bad name, but it's hard.
The intro is difficult. Not gonna lie, the intro is difficult.
The intro is very difficult with that name.
Yeah.
But
so if you have something funny, please let us know. We like to laugh. So so any suggestions, any questions at all you want to see answered, if they're good, we'll save them for the podcast. Of course, if you ask any other questions that we might not think we can talk about for very long, we'll just answer you in the comments section. Yeah. So there's I hate this expression, but there's no bad questions. So if you have any question for us, just leave it down below, and we will answer it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, unless you're asking why Trae Young's not the number one pick. That's
then
a bad
laugh
question,
at you.
And you should feel bad.
Yeah, we will laugh, and we will type LOLOL in the comment section.
Oh, yeah, and the schedule for the podcast, we aren't 100% sure, but probably Saturdays or Sundays. So keep an eye out for that each week. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Anything else to add?
No, I think we're good. Thanks, you guys. I mean, I'm sure none of you made it this far, but if you did, like, we appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Seriously, thank you all for subscribing. The last few days have been insane for us. And we will catch you on the next prospect breakdown for Miles Bridges.